How are university leaders, though, fighting to position their graduates for this new reality? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is the president of the University of Southern California, Beong-Soo Kim. President Kim, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Liz.
You know, arguably the job of a college is to produce graduates who are ready to compete, contribute, and succeed. But many universities, including some of the Ivy Leagues, have strayed from that mission. What are you doing at USC to ensure these kids' success?
Well, first of all, we're staying really positive, Liz. One of the parts of Coach Carroll's commencement speech that I particularly enjoyed is he said something like, "Wear them out with your optimism." And I think that at USC, there's a lot to be optimistic about. We're innovating our curriculum. We're leaning into both the opportunities and the challenges from AI. And we've never emphasized more the importance of human leadership skills and qualities. The leadership skills that Coach Carroll talked about, skills like listening, skills like empathy, teamwork, those things are going to be more and more important as AI automates some of the job functions that it's going to do. And as the job market becomes more challenging, we believe at USC that those human leadership qualities that we emphasize so much at our university are really going to advantage our graduates.
So explain exactly what USC is doing. Instead of debating how bad AI is, you don't want to fight evolution. How is USC embracing it and really prepping these students for a realistic and successful life after graduation?
So let me say, first of all, that as you've seen from some of the other commencements that have been online, students are very ambivalent about AI. They certainly understand its power, its potential, and they're also very concerned. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a backlash. And the way that we're approaching at USC is to really focus on the opportunities that AI can provide to save lives, to cure diseases, to help businesses, to keep us more secure as a country and as business organizations, to even empower artists and creatives to do their work more efficiently and more creatively. At the same time, it's really important to stare directly at the face of some of the challenges. You mentioned some of them with respect to the employment market and the way it's changing jobs. There are also issues on campus with respect to academic integrity. So what we did is almost a year ago, we actually decided, let's get ahead of this. This technology is not going away. It's going to only become more prevalent. So let's think about how USC can lead the way in thinking about how we innovate our curriculum. So we've developed a set of proposals and a plan that's going to equip students, whether they're a history major, whether they're a dancer, whether they're an engineer, a business major, equip them with AI skills that are relevant to their particular fields, number one. Number two, let's have a general class about how AI is changing society so that students can think very wisely and intelligently about some of the important choices that we're going to have to make as a society to make sure that we're always in control of AI and not the other way around. And then thirdly, what we were discussing before, Liz, around the importance of leadership. Coach Carroll announced at the Marshall graduation that he's going to be returning to USC to teach a leadership course. He taught that course a couple years ago, and we couldn't be more excited to be working with him on his all of his incredible philosophies around winning forever and empowering students to be the best. Be their best selves.
Yeah, I hope I can audit that. I would take it at any given time. He is so motivational. You mentioned that students are ambivalent about AI. Yeah, they are. I mean, it did not happen at USC, but at another school, University of Arizona, when Eric Schmidt, the former head of Google, spoke and brought up AI, he got booed. And that was an interesting moment, but kids have to be realistic. And perhaps that's part of the issue. It feels like certainly some parents accuse some universities for trading their mission statement instead for a political statement. They sort of optimize campus politics instead of career outcomes. Parents want their kids to be ready for career outcomes, don't they?
Yes.
And therefore,
Yes,
they're paying a lot of money for this. So can you ensure, and how do you tamp down? Listen, I went to UC Berkeley, where they have quite a rich tradition of campus activism, but never once was I impeded from getting to class by activism or by riots or protests. Never once. Unlike recently in the past couple of years at Harvard, at Columbia, at UCLA. I mean, that's just horrible. How do you make sure that kids feel that they can say what they want to say, but still, you guys know, kids, that it's serious time and you got to learn, you got to study, you got to get to class?
Yeah. Let me say a couple of things, Liz. So first of all, I'm going to say I think it was unfortunate that Eric Schmidt was booed, and I don't think that should have happened. It didn't happen at USC, and it shouldn't happen. I think it's really important for universities to be places where ideas can be expressed. People can listen to them. They can disagree with them, but it's so important for them to be respectful in the way that they disagree. And personally, I don't think it's appropriate to boo a commencement speaker who's there in order to try to give the graduates advice. You can agree or disagree with what he has to say, but I think that it connects in a way to your broader point about what happened on some campuses a couple years ago, where not only was there booing, but there was actual obstruction of right-of-way across campus. Certain students and student groups felt like they were not welcome. That is just not appropriate, should not happen, and certainly it's not going to happen under my leadership at USC. We pride ourselves on being a campus community where not only do we tolerate different points of view, but we actually try to lean into them, which is, in my view, what a university should always stand for. So that's one important piece to kind of keep in mind as we move forward. And then with respect to AI, I think that we really need to do a better job of explaining both its benefits and also its challenges. And I think that perhaps what you're seeing a little bit at some of these other universities is that there's been a little bit of over-optimism about how it's going to make us more productive and make us more efficient without really thinking seriously about the way it's going to change jobs. And how do we, without being in denial, how do we actually innovate our educational model? How do we innovate our classes? How do we innovate our teaching so that it's still going to be relevant at places like USC as knowledge becomes more easily accessible and even commoditized?
Well, it's working at USC. In fact, you got a $200 million gift from Mark and Mary Stevens, a venture capitalist. He's on the NVIDIA board, and they're going to create a school that really focuses on all of this. And let me just say, as a parent of a USC Marshall School of Business graduate, my son Julian just graduated, I can't tell you how happy I was that when all these other schools were having post-October 7th protests, USC kept the school focused on college and education and studying, and I thank them for it. I thank you for it, and good luck with your tenure as president of the school. And I really like the drone show at graduation. Thank you very much. That was amazing.
Thank you so much, Liz.
Really good to have you, President Beong-Soo Kim of USC. All right.